For much of her life, Aydan Nix believed her story was complete. She grew up in Florida, surrounded by love, raised by the man she called her father, and unaware that her personal history was missing a crucial chapter. That chapter would not reveal itself until adulthood, and when it did, it connected her to two of the most recognizable faces in global fashion. Today, Nix is known publicly as the previously undisclosed half-sister of supermodels Gigi and Bella Hadid. But to reduce her story to a headline would overlook the emotional complexity, quiet resilience, and unexpected generosity that define her experience. In a deeply personal essay published by The Cut, Nix offered rare insight into how her life changed after discovering her biological connection to the Hadid family, and how warmth, patience, and mutual respect shaped a bond that continues to evolve. A discovery that rewrote the past. More than 2 decades ago, Mohammed Hadid, real estate developer and patriarch of a well-known blended family, had a brief relationship with Terry Hatfield Dull. From that relationship, Aydan Nix was born. The circumstances surrounding her birth remained largely private, and Nix was raised without knowledge of her biological lineage. She grew up believing the man who raised her was her biological father, a belief that remained intact until his sudden death when she was 19 years old. His passing marked a period of grief, reflection, and personal questioning, questions that eventually led Nix to take a genetic test, initially out of curiosity rather than expectation. What she uncovered altered her understanding of her own identity. The results revealed a biological connection to the Hadid family, placing her within a lineage that included Gigi Hadid, Bella Hadid, and Anwar Hadid, as well as older half-siblings Marielle and Alana Hadid. First contact and unexpected acceptance. When Nix first connected with her newfound siblings in late 2023, she did not know what to expect. Public perception often assumes tension, distance, or skepticism in situations involving long-lost relatives, particularly when fame and wealth are involved. Instead, what Nix encountered was openness. In her essay, she described her sisters and extended family as warm and generous, emphasizing that they created space for her in ways they were never obligated to do. From the earliest conversations, she felt welcomed rather than questioned. Her half-brother Anwar reportedly referred to her as his baby sister during their first phone call, while Bella quickly formed a connection that felt unusually intuitive. Nix shared that Bella often calls her my twin, noting that even their mother struggled to tell their voices apart early on. These small but meaningful gestures helped soften what could have been an emotionally overwhelming transition. Navigating belonging without shared history. Despite the kindness she received, Nix was candid about the emotional complexity of joining a family with decades of shared memories. She did not grow up attending holidays together, borrowing clothes, or creating childhood inside jokes. That absence, she admitted, sometimes made her feel like an observer rather than a participant. They had a lifetime of memories, she reflected, acknowledging that love does not erase the weight of time already lived. Yet instead of retreating from that discomfort, Nix allowed herself to sit with it. She framed the experience not as a deficit, but as a reality, one that required patience, humility, and emotional honesty from everyone involved. Reclaiming cultural identity. One of the most meaningful aspects of Nix's connection to the Hadid family has been her introduction to Palestinian heritage. While the Hadid siblings have long spoken publicly about their cultural roots and advocacy, this was uncharted territory for Nix. Through shared meals, film recommendations, and conversations, she began learning about a part of herself that had been absent from her upbringing. She recalled watching Anwar Hadid's short film, Walled Off, an artistic exploration of Palestinian displacement. Gigi, she wrote, introduced her to traditional Palestinian dishes, teaching her the names and histories behind them. Alana Hadid provided reading materials and encouraged her to engage more deeply with Palestinian activism. For Nix, this education was not performative, it was personal. It allowed her to situate herself within a broader narrative of heritage, resilience, and responsibility. Entering the fashion world on her own terms. While her connection to the Hadid name naturally drew attention, Nix has been intentional about building her own path. A recent graduate of Parsons School of Design in New York City, she entered the fashion industry with both ambition and caution. Her sisters, particularly Gigi, offered guidance rather than shortcuts. Gigi introduced Nix to stylist and editor Gabriella Carafa Johnson, whose work Nix admired for its integrity and cultural awareness. What followed was not a ceremonial introduction, but real work. Nix began assisting during peak production periods, quickly learning the intensity of professional fashion environments. Her first day on set lasted 17 hours and took place during a major Victoria's Secrets campaign, an experience she described as exhausting yet affirming. For the first time, she felt aligned with her purpose. Fame at a distance. Despite her proximity to celebrity, Nix remains measured about public attention. She has acknowledged the surreal nature of suddenly being associated with globally famous figures, but she does not center her identity on that connection. Instead, her focus remains on creativity, cultural learning, and personal growth.
She approaches her relationship with her siblings not as a spectacle, but as a family dynamic that deserves privacy and respect. Gigi and Bella, for their part, have echoed that sentiment. When the existence of their half-sister became public in May, the models released a jolt statement confirming the timeline and circumstances of Nix's birth. They emphasized that Mohammed Hadid was single at the time of the relationship, and that Nix was raised with love. They also clarified that the siblings first connected in late 2023, and that Nix was embraced immediately. Redefining family in adulthood. Nix's story challenges traditional narratives of family formation. There was no childhood reunion, no fairy tale reveal. Instead, there was grief, curiosity, cautious outreach, and eventually trust. Her experience illustrates that family can be built not only through shared pasts, but through mutual respect in the present. As she continues navigating her place within the Hadid family and the fashion industry at large, Nix remains grounded in gratitude rather than entitlement. Her essay is not a demand for recognition, but a reflection on what it means to be welcomed. In a world where celebrity often amplifies division, her account stands out for its restraint and humanity.